Let's talk about what happened today. Today is Monday, October 25th, and I don't even know what to call today. It, I mean, I don't know if I can say this is technical Monday or misdirection Monday, non-bias Monday. Overall, the QQQ, the NASDAQ, the SPY, the IWM, everything was extremely positive. So you can see the QQQ, the NASDAQ is all the way at a high. Same with the SPY, the IWM. But you have the performers like Amazon. Let's take a look at Amazon and Google were um, they were both underperforming. And why were they underperforming? Well, it really has to do with what happened Friday. So Friday, it was really at the low of the day. It was extremely, like I said, uh, strength builds upon strength, weakness build upon weakness. And this is the way it is right now. So until there is something that breaks this weakness, which apparently right now is Facebook, um, it's going to be a negative bias. And the same with Google. Google, of course, let's take a look at that. You can see Google was, of course, underperforming and was at this level before the after hours. It's all the way up to 278, and this is because of Facebook earnings, which apparently I haven't looked at the report, but apparently it's doing pretty well, and therefore is affecting sympathetically the high tech's low performer Apple, Google, um, Amazon, and even Shopify. So all the typical high performers, high options plays that I play. Now, MicroStrategy is, of course, Bitcoin related, so that's an exclusion. Tesla is, of course, a monster on its own. So that's not included. So Facebook is included within the list I mentioned. However, the earnings report obviously, you get this little short squeeze, and then the earnings apparently is pretty good. So in the after hours, you got Amazon and Google doing pretty well. Um, I of course played Google and made some critical mistakes, even though initially I did do a pretty good job. So initially, okay, this type of gap up, well, is it a gap up? I forget if it was like, yeah, I guess it was a neutral to down, then this initial shot up. So I initially sold a a put call option, meaning I'm playing the negative. So I sold a call option 3350 for 66.5. This is a market order, and at one point when it went up here, I was down $300 to $400. I wasn't concerned. My mistake was that I did not add a share. I need to add a share because I need to hold on to that runner or to knowing this, the risk, the probability of going down was pretty high. So I knew the probability of going down was pretty high. That's why I sold the call option, but I failed to risk. managed correctly, because if I close this call option, I don't have another call option. I don't have another runner or another potential, and I always want to make initial profit. So I covered. Where did I cover? When it broke, I think up here. So I covered at the initial break of VWAP. So there was an attempt to break VWAP. I had an order at the high, what was the high at 23, 333, 2375, which is a mistake because oftentimes, like I said, it'll overshoot the VWAP just a little bit. I did not pay attention to the volume. I only looked at the price. The volume was mediocre. So by covering at this point right here at the very top, essentially, the top is 33.24. I'm at 0.25 of a difference essentially. Took in a $800 gain, which seems okay. However, I missed out on all of this, right? I missed out on all of this, and I didn't have a runner, meaning I didn't sell two. It would have been okay. Let's just say I did cover that 800. If I had another one, I could hold on to the other one and then cover the other one while it going up. Maybe at this point, right? Maybe here I would have covered. My mistake then was what? What did I do? I sold one at 51, essentially 51.1 at this point, at this VWAP. I was playing for the downside. Why was I playing the downside? Well, I can tell you, um, I was playing the downside because um, I just felt, I didn't want to counter trend. This is a counter trend, right? I wanted to play this direction, and I thought it would fail the VWAP because the QQQ was at the very top. Okay, the QQQ on, let's just look at the 60 right here. The QQQ was at the very top right here. So that was the reason why I was playing the downside at this point. Well, guess what? Boom, squeezed me out. Completely squeezed me out. Had I held onto it, I would have been fine, of course. I mean, had I held onto it, I would have been fine, but I didn't know this 23, I forget where I closed. This was a straddle, that the one leg of the straddle that I closed on. So I'm gonna really exclude that because the other straddle I'm holding at a loss of probably 300. Um, the point being, let's just draw that in. This right here was a mistake. I use another color so I can see clearer. This right here was a mistake. This right here was a mistake. And I think I covered the other one up here. Somewhere up here I cover the let's just say I cover the other straddle here. And so now I lost out on all these potential gains. I lost out on this potential gains. I forgot to add one, so this was a mistake right here. Not adding one was a mistake. I said never to add one. Well, never to add one when you're on the losing side, but the chance of it going to this was so low that I should have added one, knowing I knew this was gonna happen. I was playing for that. I just only held one position, right? And of course, I didn't cover down here because I'm gonna let it flush out. But I cover here, which was completely wrong. That's only 800. Uh, if I held two, maybe it would have been okay because I would have had the other one. That would be 1500 on the other one. So I would have had 800 and 1500. That's 23, right? But I only had one. So this 800 was completely a mistake. Then on this run up, this was a mistake right here. This was a complete stupidity because, the second time, this is, like I said, this is the morning, right? This is the afternoon. The morning is push, so they will push it. The morning push, either one direction or the other. That's the morning. Afternoon is control. It's completely control. It's a control market in the afternoon. So at this point, it looks like it was gonna fail. That was a head fake. Then it runs it up. And guess what? It didn't touch the 5 minutes at all. Didn't touch the 5 minute. Didn't get close to the five. I mean, yeah, I guess it got somewhat close to the 5 minutes. But often that's the case. It shows it like that way. It doesn't touch the five because it wants to show weakness. So that was the weakness I'm talking about. So Amazon was frustrated. The same what happened to Google. Fortunately, I gamble, and Facebook is up in the after hours. And so now Amazon is up sympathetically. It's going to open up tomorrow. I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to run. I really don't. I'm not convinced. I feel at this point, Amazon is just negative. It just feels negative, and it may even test this 200 again. So I do need to play the downside, although Tuesday is turnaround Tuesday. Um, you can see, let's look at some of the options. So this guy right here is reporting 4,000. So that's extremely heavy because this is expensive, right? So, but it's not coming in. I guess this is the one right here that is expensive. This is the big one. And of course, the other one would be this guy, 3350. And I guess this volume is decent. So this was the attempt right here to go to this trend line, and it didn't get there. And then the other one would be this guy, and that's going to show a similar behavior except a little bit lower. Um, on the put side, you really only got this guy, 3,300. And so you can see it failed. So this guy failed. So it was the algorithm was latched. So it's kind of heavy on the volume here. So the algorithm is latched to this trend line. Once it tested this trend line, undershoots, overshoots, whatever you want to call it, and then retested it and successfully fail, and then break out and then fail again. So this is the trend line to follow. So I would say tomorrow I'm looking at the 3,300 trend line on the puts, the 3,300 put trend line to determine exactly what is going to happen. I'm gonna say it's gonna be indeterminate technical Tuesday. I'm gonna call it right now. Tomorrow is gonna be technical Tuesday. I just don't see a sell-off. Um, the way Facebook reported earnings, I just don't see a sell-off. I don't see Amazon running crazy. Uh, I do see opportunities on the upside for some players, but there's a lot of stocks that are heavy right now, and then there's stocks that are weak. Um, so I don't know which one. Looks like Google might have an opportunity. Um, Let me close this guy. I guess I don't need to draw anything else. Google might have an opportunity. So there you have Google, which essentially, I guess in the after hours is all the way up to this level, which is, I guess that's maybe the 15-minute trend line. Yeah, 378 is right here. So Google is testing, it's going to open up at the 15-minute trend line, which now will be, it's going to open up, at that level. This won't show up tomorrow, of course, because it's going to be down here. So I think Google is going to be a good play. I like Bookum as well. I do like Bookum. It is bouncing off of the 50. So any chance of Bookum going down? I think Shopify and Amazon are going to be negative, so I won't be touching them. Tesla is of course a beast. There's not much you can do with Tesla, honestly. Really, there's not much you can do with Tesla. I might want to sell the straddle, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to sell the straddle because it looks strong, but I mean, will it wiggle around up here? Typically, it would wiggle around up here, as you saw that with CMG. So I don't think they're gonna give up Tesla just yet. So playing the straddle might be, although I think this is the monthly option expiration. So by Friday, I think there will be a sell-off. So if tomorrow, let's just say, hopefully, I will do have to wait for the extreme. So if tomorrow there's some kind of sell-off tomorrow on Tesla, remember all of these are weak hands. These are very weak hands. They're trying to push it further and further for the option plays, of course. Um, if it opens, I'm have to wait for some kind of extreme movement, maybe 950. That's when I would sell my first put option, hoping for it to go higher. After it successfully go higher at some point, I would probably want to sell the call option. Uh, I mean, low will it go? It probably won't even get to 950. I mean, who knows where it would go on the downside, right? It could be 975, 950, or even 1,000, where it would have a bounce. It's just difficult to play this guy. Um, Facebook might be a good straddle to play, depending on how expensive Facebook is. Right now, you can see the behavior is 332. It's pretty mute, or rather, it's a mute reaction, a I don't know, a slightly positive bias. So maybe I would try the initial run up. So the put option, sell the put option, and then hopefully sell the call option maybe at 340 is where it would reach, since the top right here is the pre-market or the after hours. The after hours is all the way up to 344. So this at the 61.8 Fibonacci. I would try to target that for my first or my second leg. If I could get in anywhere at this level on the open, buying, or I'm sorry, selling the put option and hoping for it to get to 61.8 before I sell the second leg of the straddle. I think that's a pretty good strategy. I would do that on my smart trading account. I would not be doing that on the big one because I'm still stuck on Amazon. Looking at the performers, I'm not seeing anything really standing out. Let's see on the positive side. What happened to MSI? I don't know. Cliff, mRNA, and BioNTechs are doing well. All the energies and the green technology, like the EVs, the solar companies, they're all doing quite well. CSQI, they are doing well because of the sympathetic play with with Tesla. Really, I guess that's the way it's going to go. CMG is now breaking because there's only so much money. Once the money is leaving, so here's what I'm talking about, right? Where it just kept going and going and going, and then now it's I don't know where the bounce may be. This may be the bounce, or this may be the bounce. I don't know. Um, Crown, Baba, Shopify, Apple, Tesla, MicroStrategy, Google, Bookum. Now, Bookum is the one I like. Bookum and Facebook. Let's take a look at Bookum. Yeah, so Bookum. I do like Bookum. I'm hoping, I'm hoping for a little bit of a retracement. I don't know, anywhere down here. If I'm lucky in the morning, if I'm really lucky, they shoot. If I forget to not get in, and then they shoot it even lower, I probably would get. Now, if it's too weak, it's gonna be the volume. So if the volume is really high on the downside, I may not get in. This may be a trap. Let me see where it is on the 15th. Yeah, it's at the 15th. So like I said, multiple attempts to break the 15. Like this attempt to break the 15 here is this attempt to break the 15, attempt to break the 15th, 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 attempt to break the 15th. It's one, two, three, four, five, six failures of the 15th. So this might just be a head fake. It looks like it's a doji recovery. This is a classic doji recovery tail, I mean candle with a long wick. However, the volume is too weak. That is very weak volume. So I don't know. I would have to see, I guess, some decent volume and it going above the 15th, or I can try to bottom dip if I see stability for it to retest the 15. It's gonna be hard to say. I don't want to get trapped in that one, that's for sure. I already got a strategy for Facebook. Pen Pal, PayPal. PayPal does look fairly attractive. It was trying to break out, or not break out. It was trying to get some, I guess, decent strength. Now it's on the weak side. The volume is high. I don't know how if it's gonna continue to stay high. Um, but you know, yeah, it's hard to say if it's gonna go down and retest this 240 or not because the volume is so high. The one I do like Roku. Um, yeah, I do like Roku. The signal does look good. Looks like it's gonna, probably flatten out and then maybe go upward. Game is the other one I do like. So there's game. I do have a order. I don't know where it says in the after hours, but I did have an order to buy it in the after hours at 170. I was trying to get it down here. Didn't get it. 172. It only got to 172 and a half, I believe, right here, 172 and a half. But I may have to see, get lucky to try to get into it. That being said, the two plays that I missed out is, of course, DWAC and Phun, PHUN. Both of these plays, had I took it in the after hours, um, on Friday, I would have been sitting uh, pretty well, because sitting pretty, I guess, because you can see right here, this was where I was trying to tam the bottom. At 73 was my order, 73.1 was my order. I mean, had I just put it at 74.1 or whatever, and not try to bottom tam it so perfectly, I was trying to tam it right here so perfectly. Got in at 74, got out at 120. I mean, that's 74. Let's just say I get 7,400. There's 1,200 or 12,000. So that's a good 5,000 I missed out. 5,000 I missed out. And even if I didn't get, I guess 100 shares, even if I got 50 shares, let's just say I just took a piece of 50, that's still 2,500 I missed out. This is the right way to do it. This is the right way to play. Trying to pick precisely the bottom. Trying to be perfect on all your execution, on all my execution. That is the wrong strategy. That is definitely the wrong strategy. Now, Poon, yeah, I don't think I target Poon, but it's really the same behavior, right? Didn't get to the low. Right here was in the low six. You know, even if I got a low six, 1,000 shares, I probably wouldn't put 1,000 shares, but even if I got 500 shares, that's that's 6,000, so that's 3,000. So 3,000 is doing pretty well. I still have hope for these guys. I do. Both Poonware and WAC. I do both have hope that they will run. Same with Game and AMC. The one I do feel is weak, will continue to be weak, would be Amazon. So I need to find a way to get out of Amazon. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, there's some type of squeeze tomorrow on the morning. Kind of like this attempt in the morning right here. This little weak attempt to go. Right, maybe tomorrow, if I'm lucky, it can try to get to this guy, which would be, let's just say it tries in the morning to get to 350, which is 20 points from here. So that would be right here. That obviously not close to the 15, but it'll be above the 5. If I'm lucky, it'll open up at the 5. Well, yeah, it is gonna open at the 5 pretty much. Yeah, the 5 is at 330, so it's gonna open at the 5, and hopefully it will break it. So that's what I'm attempting, break it, and maybe the first target will be 50%. Maybe I would get out on, I don't know. I guess I would have to get out on one of my put option that I sold. If I can get to here, I will have to get out. And I don't know if I would I guess I have to sell one of the call option to play the opposite side on the very first attempt, because the morning maybe they overshoot it a little bit, 33.40. It's gonna be tricky because as you know, whatever you think of, it's not gonna be precise. So it's gonna have to depend on the volume and how weak it looks. It may not even get to here. It may open at the 5 and fail it. It may open right at the 5 and fail it. So it's gonna be hard to say. I mean, you're at the point where you don't know if the squeeze is gonna be successful or it's just essentially a trap, meaning the gap up to the 5 is just a trap. It's gonna be hard to say. I may just have to bite the bullet and take a loss, or I might just hold out and hope for the best, and we'll see what will happen.